Hey guys, welcome back. So, at some point in our life, we may find ourselves asking the question: is college really worth it? If you've already passed, you may have strong thoughts on this based on your experiences. If you're currently in college, you may be wondering if it's panning out the way you thought it would. Or if you're a high school student, you may be wondering, is that the right decision to make? Should you go to college? So I'm going to explain this based off of my experience, some of the experiences of others and the things that I've seen throughout the past couple of years. So I have a list of 5 pros, 5 cons. They'll be on my website. I won't be able to go over all of them here because this video may get a little bit out of hand and linked, but you can check that out on my website, atibreallife.com. But anyways, I'm going to go over just a couple of them here that I've marked that I really want to talk about. So I'm going to start with the pros. And some of these things that you may find that there's 2 sides of the coin. They can be seen as good and they can be seen as bad, but that's the reason why I want to talk about them. So approach this with an open mind, and you'll fully understand why they're a pro or a con, and can be vice versa. So one of the first ones is you can learn a little bit of everything. And this is one of those things that a lot of people that I've come across, they will sort of see that in a negative light. There are those courses that you're going to go through, especially during your first couple years during college, your core courses that may seem completely unrelated to your major. However, looking back, some of those same courses, I found that, up until this point in time, even with me being in the industry that I'm in and pursuing what I'm pursuing, they've actually, given me a little value. So, for example, my first semester of college, I took speech class, and I wasn't intending to take it in the first semester, but the class I was intending to take got full, so I had to take it. So I always hated speaking. I always hated speaking in front of crowds. That was just not my thing. However, when I took this class, I realized that it wasn't as bad as I thought it would. Since I've, been sort of, I've been happy that I did take it then, because it helped me get over a slight initial fear that I had. And, it helped me realize it wasn't as bad as, I had thought it to be before. And fast forward up until now, I've discovered that speaking is something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that I really want to pursue or use as a method of achieving what I'm trying to achieve. So, looking back then, I never would have thought that I would be attempting to do what I am now. However, that class did benefit me. Being open and thinking about things. Sometimes later on in life, you may realize that a course that you took even the ones that seem unrelated may be beneficial to you somehow. So pro number 2, college will actually push you to learn more. I've noticed that a lot of students, especially early on, will simply sort of drift. They want to make the minimum grade in order to progress to the next level and simply not pass, and delay themselves for years and years and years, just spending more money and not moving anywhere. So there you have those students who will simply want to make the minimum, and then you'll have those students who actually treat it seriously. The best approach to your time in college is actually to treat it as an investment. It's an investment in your future. And a lot of times students will not actually pursue learning outside of class. When I graduated with the intention of going into programming, and I knew that that wasn't necessarily going to happen right off the bat. However, I knew that I had to continue to grow, and I had to continue to learn, because I wasn't where I wanted to be, and actually in order to be good at that. So that's the route that I went. I put time into studying outside of classes. That was after I graduated. Even up until now, I spend time trying to grow myself, because I know that I'm investing in my future. So college will actually push people to learn more, and they may not intentionally be, or they may not even want to put as much time as they, do into their studies. But if they're gonna pass the class, then they have to. So, just having that extra bit of incentive to actually study, it's beneficial. Like I said, it may not be the best way or the best approach to it, but you gotta admit that you're actually learning regardless. Pro number 3. College will actually open the doors for more opportunities. This is one of the big ones. After we graduate, we're typically, looking to get a job pretty soon. The thing with anything in life is there is absolutely no guarantee. But what you want to do is at least increase your chances. And that's what college will actually do. Because the truth is, there are several jobs out there that if you will read the description, you'll find that they're asking for you to have an associate's degree. They're asking for you to have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. And that's just to get your foot in the door, you know. And I know that to many, it can be a harsh reality from the moment that you graduate, or, you know, actually before this point, for many, it can be harsh to be looking for a job and realize that, hey, they're asking for a degree I don't have. So that's the thing. It will at least, you know, open the door for an opportunity. Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to get it, but what you're doing is at least giving yourself a chance to, because the more time in between, you know, graduating and getting a job that it takes, you know, that can be a little bit more stress on you. You know, maybe you're trying to move out of your parents, or maybe you have, you know, responsibilities, as we all do, things we have to pay off. So, you know, you want to at least bridge that gap as closely as you can and give yourself an opportunity, get in the door, and then, you know, hit the ground running, work your way up, do whatever you got to do at that point. Giving yourself an opportunity is actually one of the best, you know, pros of going to college. You know, it's going to open the door for many opportunities that, you know, otherwise you wouldn't have. Those were 3 pros. Like I said, you can go to my website to see the other ones a little bit more detail if you want. But, you know, those were 3 of the main ones that I really want to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the cons now. And as you can see with most of the pros, they can be a little bit double-sided, and they can both actually be a pro or a con. It just depends on how you look at it. And that's why I say that you really have to approach it with an open mind. You have to approach your, you know, reasons of going to college, and you know, all those things that other people tell you. You have to approach those things with an open mind, and you know, have a bit of thought yourself as to what you can get out of it. One of the first cons I want to talk about is that, you know, college can actually stun creativity. And I say that because just as with high school, you know, there's a set path for the most part. You know, we're so much directed towards our instructors to do these things. We're, you know, to learn XYZ, to you know, make presentations, to present, to do all these things, and you know, one of the things that you will realize after you graduate is that, you know, there is none of that. You're going to be responsible for your own ability to get a job. You're going to be responsible for your ability to learn on that job, and to, you know, actually be able to step up higher versus being stagnant. So, you know, if you approach college with the mindset of you're going to do whatever it takes, you're going to actually, you know, step away from the path and try to learn on your own, or maybe identify an objective that's bigger that you're actually trying to accomplish, and use college as your method of achieving that. You know, that's what you want to do. Be creative in your approach. Identify what it is that you want out of life, your objective, you know, and go with that. And, you know, be creative in how to get there. There's no defined one, you know, path to reaching our objectives and our goals. You know, you have to really be adaptive, and you have to be creative. These are things that you're just going to have to do, you know, if you're going to find success in those areas. The second con is that college can create deservers. This is one of the big ones. I see it a lot. You know, I've read online, I've talked to people. One of the things is that a lot of college students, after they graduate, they think that they deserve a certain job, or they think that they deserve a job right off the bat. Now, I can understand this. You know, of course we want a job. We're anxious to start working, making some money after we graduate. However, don't be so quick to think that you actually deserve that. You know, when we look at these job descriptions and see they're so demanding, there are so many things that they're asking for. You know, a couple years of experience for entry-level jobs, and we're wondering, how are we going to get in that job if we, you know, simply can't even get our foot in the door from the beginning? How are we going to get a job requiring 3, you know, years of experience? That's one of those things that you'll see a lot. If you haven't graduated yet, or you're in high school, you're gonna find that a lot. But you know, you have to really to remember that you actually have to market yourself. You actually have to grow yourself. So, you know, even outside of college, you have to continue to study. You have to continue to push. You have to continue to invest in your mind. You know, don't fall in that mindset of you deserve something, because the time that you spend thinking of how much you deserve a job, you could be spending that time into learning a little bit more, or actually, as I said before, being creative and, you know, creating a path to where you're trying to go. So like I said, identify what it is that you're trying to achieve, and, you know, the reason why you're going to college, and to know that you're investing in yourself, and, you know, use that as your tool to reach that objective. Con number 3, is plenty students will seek to become a job title versus their objective. One of the things that you hear me always say is that it's good to actually identify what you want in life. It's good to identify a goal, something that's going to motivate you, something that you're passionate about. It's good to identify those things. So tying that into your college major, rather than seeking to become a nurse or just simply saying that you want to become a nurse, identify why that is. If you're really passionate about helping people or changing lives or giving the best service that you can to assist someone else's life in their day-to-day, living, then use that as your purpose. Use that as your driving force. Seek to become, more knowledgeable as you can so that you can provide the best service that you can as a nurse. So look at it that way, simply, versus simply saying, I want to be a nurse. For me, I graduated college with the intention of becoming a programmer. And, looking back on that mindset, I can say that maybe it wasn't the right mindset to have. So better for me would have been to say, hey, I want to change lives, or I want to change the IT industry. I want to do something big, or, something small, but they can make an impact. Because, actually identifying a why behind it, having a reason, that's going to be the thing that's going to drive me to actually put more time into studying it on my own. It's going to drive me to be passionate about my work. And if I'm passionate about my work, that's going to show to other people. That's going to show in the programs and things that I create. So, it's good to identify your why behind, what you're actually doing, so that you can have, an actual drive behind it. So rather than seeking to become the title, simply to say you're a nurse or a programmer or a doctor, identify why it is that you want to be those things. Because if you're not necessarily passionate about it, if you're not fully into it, you're not going to enjoy it. Several students will pick the wrong majors, things that they may identify. They simply want to make money, and of course we all do. But getting caught up in those sorts of reasons can really set us up for an unhappy career. We're going to be working a good majority of our lives unless we actually create something and become our own bosses. We're going to be working for someone else for a good bit of our lives. So, to actually identify something you're passionate in, even if you were to get laid off, or, this is actually something that you can actually grow into your own thing. So, identify something that you're passionate in, and, drive and be successful in that thing. Like I said, guys, I didn't want to make this video too long. You can check out all the pros and cons. There are 5 of each on my website, atibitoflife.com, if you like. I go in a little bit more detail there. If you'll enjoy reading, and check it out. So before this video gets out of hand, like I said, I hope I've said something that can benefit you. If you're a student, high school student, getting ready to join college, you're getting ready to make that decision on whether that's something that you want to do. Really think about these things with an open mind. And, before you simply hear someone say a negative about it, think about why it's a negative, and think about how you can actually make it a positive. One of those things is, like I said before, there is actually no guarantee to success in your life. And there are many people who have not attended college who've been very successful. There's many people who started that left have been very successful, and there's are many people who go to college and are very successful. So rather than to take that one route and say that this is not going to benefit me, or college is bad, or it's a waste of time, think about that. There's many avenues to what we want to achieve in life. So the first thing, as I always say, the first thing you have to do is identify what it is that you're trying to achieve in life. And for me, if I were to answer the question, is college worth it? For me, it was. Like I said, that may not apply to you, that may not apply to several others, but for me it was. And I would not go back and change my decision to go, because I probably wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't. I don't know where I would have been, but I wouldn't be in the position that I am now. And you just have to take everything and use it to your advantage. Whatever you decide to do, go for it, stick to it, make it through it, and enjoy your life. So, like I said, that's all I want to talk about, guys. I hope I've said something that can benefit you, and I'll see you next time.